there. So welcome, beautiful Sarah Towle. Sarah, thank you so much for hanging out with me on this Tuesday morning. It's lovely to spend time with you. It's been a little while since your round of the Initiate program.
Mm-hmm.
You have so generously offered to come in and kind of, I guess, give people who are thinking about the program a chance to really, learn about it from someone who's doing it, not just me who's, I want everyone to do this program. I think it's incredible. But I wanted to just, give you a moment, because it has been a little while, to reflect on, what was the program like for you when you were in it? What sort of brought you to it?
Mm-hmm. Well, originally I found your book. And both my sisters have done your program. At first I was like, I know all that stuff. I'm familiar with it,
Yeah.
And then something just made me pick it up and start really reading it.
Yeah.
And I just got epiphany after epiphany. I went, I've known that. And now it was why, what it was actually called and how it worked.
Yeah.
But then I thought, I want to go deeper.
Yeah.
So that's what made me sign up for the program. No, I need to go deeper. And that 3-month immersion for me, getting in there every single week, talking to you in the lives and the other girls and how they were going. I loved the platform.
Yeah.
I loved the way we could go through, pick it off as we went through it, come back to it each time. It was easy to find, and it was there each week. Each week we knew what we were doing, and going with it. Park Appearance was one of my favourites.
Yes.
Still do it. And that was the thing, by showing up each live with you, you learn within that group energy how much more powerful it could feel.
Yes. Yeah.
Which you didn't get on your own until you started to realise within the group how it could feel.
Yes.
So I loved that.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, is that it's not just about, what coming and hanging out with me, but it's that, this shared experience. And we know from the laws, we understand from quantum physics, all the science that we dive deep into, that we exponentially increase the power of what we're doing. So going into our fear releasing together is so much more powerful than, doing it on our own. So I think you're absolutely right. There's so much beyond accountability. There's a really powerful gift in gathering with a shared purpose.
And I think sometimes too, when you're doing it on your own, you can get lost.
Yeah.
And by coming back every week to the group, someone else will say, hang on a minute, I felt like that. Or that happened to me. And suddenly you realise, okay, normal. It's part of the process. It's part of the expansion.
Yeah.
But otherwise you would contract and just stop.
Yeah.
I think I did hit 1 week there. I was like, nah, I'm done. Thank you very much. Ran out the room. Then I went, sat with it and came back and went, right, I've moved through it. I know what that was now.
Yeah.
And I think without that group contact and with you each week, you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah. Absolutely, because this is a program that's designed to accelerate our awakening. And so you're going to meet your fear, you're going to meet your subconscious crap. And I think that if you don't have that place to kind of come to and say, is this okay, is this normal, or even, I don't want to be here anymore, and to have not just me, but all these incredible women and men who are spiritual leaders at all different stages, being able to kind of say, hey, you're doing really well. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And it's, it's a generous aspect of the program that I sort of didn't expect, is that the willingness for everybody to support one another. And it just blows me away, because there's no one has to do that. But I think it does attract a certain kind of person like you, and you do want to give to one another. You want to see each other succeed and meet those fears.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you think about, the process for you, you came into it, as you say, you had your sisters, you'd read the book, so you had some familiarity with me. I really love what you talked about, though, of going deeper. And I think, what in your normal life prevents you from going deeper with your spirituality? What are the things that kind of get in the way?
For me personally, or do you think in general?
Well, for you personally, and then we can kind of zoom out.
Okay.
I think they'll probably be the same.
Well, for me, it was not knowing really a direction. I like a path. I like to know where I'm going and what the end destination was for me. And the Initiate program, I could see that where we were headed.
Yeah.
Why? So by doing that and implementing the practices and having a set task that not necessarily was set by me, because it's so easy to throw what we do out the window, but by having that each week, oh, this is what we're going to do, we're just going to spend 7 days on this, it broke it down again, and not from a 3-month process to a 7-day process. Yeah. So I think that really allowed me to get into that process each day and know that it was for 7 days. Yeah. If I didn't particularly like that one, there was an end. Whereas if I really loved it, I knew also that I could come back to it and keep that practice up each week that followed afterwards. So what stops me, I think, was we can get too busy. We can just get wound up in our day-to-day lives and just put it all down and forget it. Because we have joined this and we're doing it with other women, it inspires you more to keep going. Yeah. And then by the time at the end of it, you sort of almost have little daily practice, whether you choose a big practice or a small practice, you tend to keep going back to each time because it's almost routine.
Yeah. And you mentioned your favourite practice, which was that heart coherence, absolutely. And so how easy is it for you to draw that into your mind? Like if you're having a bad day, how easy is it for you to remind yourself of these practices?
Well, that one in particular, because you taught us to touch. So as soon as after about the first, it took me about 2.5 weeks to really connect to that. Yeah. After that, as soon as I would do that, wherever I was, if I was in the car waiting for the kids, I could fall into it easy. Yeah. So, but it took that little bit of time. And again, it wasn't until I did it a couple of times with the whole group and you that you got that real feeling of what it was meant to feel like. Yeah. Then you can bring that memory back and call on it a couple of times a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. I'm with you. And it's, it is about setting up new habits and breaking the bad habits. And that's absolutely, that takes time to build that muscle. And I agree, I used to teach this 12-week program in 2 days, but I know, I know, crazy, right? I know from the women who've done both versions that it isn't, you don't get that sustained immersion in the repetition. And I think that's one of the things that you do need to have a good amount of time to change habits.
And I think that's what's going to bring you deeper. Yeah. Whereas I think the 2-day would have been fantastic, but super intense. And you wouldn't have really had the time to explore every aspect. Yeah. Whereas now, I think, you can go with it at your own pace as well. Yeah. You come back to it.
You can, because you get access to the program forever for as long as the platform exists, which I think is also, because as you said, I loved what you said at the beginning, looking at the book going, I know all of this, I've studied this before, but what is it that turns it from knowledge into wisdom? It's those practices. It's that devotion and showing up again and repeating it so that the brain doesn't drop it the second things get difficult.
And it's that repetition. Because when you, like we say, we know it. Yeah, great. And then we'll do it for a bit and put it down and we'll go and try this and go and try this. But it sets up that system. Yeah. And, I like that. Works for my brain.
Yeah, absolutely. And mine too. I notice for myself that I tend to have, a bit of an addictive personality, and so I can use that to my advantage. When you know yourself and get to know the way you work better, you can actually exploit your weaknesses to your advantage to set up these new habits and these new behaviors that positive addictions, to use that idea rather than destructive addictions. So I'm interested, just to sort of finish up, in asking you, if someone was thinking about this program, from your perspective, what's been the biggest change in your life as a result of it?
You can never look at the way you think the same again, because you know how it works. So therefore, whenever something comes up, you have a choice. Yeah. And that choice, you can stay where you are, or you can use your new tools to move through it. And you can't shut the door on that after you've done the program. Once you have the knowledge, and that I think is life-changing, because you can catch yourself every day slipping. And then you can say, oh, hang on a minute, no, I'm going this way. And I think that's, that knowing yourself on such a deeper level, and then implementing it, and then seeing the way it moves out through your family.
Yeah.
And the way you talk to your children, the way you handle your work and your clients, your reaction. It just gives you such a sense of clarity.
Yeah.
I mean, still a work in progress forever.
Oh but that's the point, really, isn't it? Because when we no longer need to evolve anymore, we don't need to be here anymore. So yeah, absolutely. But I think that is, that idea of the work in progress is really, it's that recognition that we do have to show up every damn day. Like, we don't get to an end point where we're like, okay, got this, I'm good, and I don't know, that kind of excites me, that when you have the tools, when you have the knowledge, you actually don't feel defeated by that. You can actually go, okay.
Yeah. And as soon as you recognize it and catch it, there's almost a relief in that.
Yeah.
And you can sort of say, oh my goodness, yes. You might sit with it for a while.
Yep.
And then go, oh. But then you can say, okay, what am I going to do about this?
Yeah.
And change it for yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest impact from the course.
Yeah.
Me.
And Sarah, will you tell us just for a moment, what's your work? What do you do for a living? Because I love hearing you talk about it, so I want to hear a little bit more. To tell everyone.
So I'm a naturopath and a kinesiologist.
Yeah.
So I work with women and children with stress, health, hormones, digestive issues, learning issues. Yeah. I've been doing that for about 22 years now, and the results are really good. I believe that we have to start with our gut health. Yes. And our body health. And once we get that relaxed, then they can start to see how their mind works and it connects them to the spirit. Sometimes when people come in and they are so stressed, they don't know where they're going. So if you start to relax the nervous system, drop the cortisol and get them out of that adrenaline fight and flight, then they can actually start to change their lives.
Yeah. What amazing work. I mean, that's vital, isn't it? Because in the, priority of needs, if you're in that survival mode, if your body thinks you're in that survival mode, you can't go kind of pursuing the soul or creativity or anything.
No. And that is, for me, I found it's the fastest way to get the change for people.
Yeah.
You settle that down with the kinesiology, you give them the nutritional support, you give them the herbal support. Within 6 weeks, 3 months, looking at everything completely differently.
Yeah.
And then they can say, oh my goodness, there's more going on here. And that's when, after you get through all that structure, then you get into the emotion and the spirit. And that's when the creativity, as you know, can start. When they're in that fight and flight, there's no room.
Yeah. Amazing work. And can people work with you online and in person, or are you all in person?
At the moment, I'm all in person. I have started to do a little bit online with people, so I guess there's definitely going to be room for that, for sure.
But right now you're in Yeppoon, which is near Rockhampton in Queensland. So, if you're interested in finding out more, we'll share links to your work as well, to people who know more about you. Because, I think, these things go so beautifully together. And it's a great joy to be able to support women who are doing the kind of work that you're doing through something like the Initiate program, because, you need that deep, soulful self-care beyond, massages and baths, to tend to the soul when you are on the path of service is so vital.
Yeah. Otherwise you burn out.
Yeah.
You've got to learn how to recharge your batteries, how to keep yourself energized and on track. Otherwise you can't do it.
Yeah, I hear you. Absolutely. Thank you so much, dear Sarah. It was a joy to have you in the Initiate program, and you know how fond I am of you, and I'm so grateful for your time. And thank you to everybody who's watched us as well. I hope all our technology worked.
So do I.